Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2479 Magma Organisms 1. Beneath the blazing sky, the air trembled like shattered glass. Lu Xiao's fragmented corpse fell into the lava and was gradually burned. Before the ashes had completely dissipated, Su Tun and Huagui looked at each other in utter terror. Their pupils contracted simultaneously, the flames at the bottom of their eyes almost extinguished by that indescribable pressure. That feeling, it was like standing before the Creator. Su Tun spoke first, his voice hoarse and cold, as if he were forcibly suppressing his fear. Huh? Sixth-generation humans, do you think that killing Lu Xiao will put you on par with the Jurong clan? His laughter was low and hoarse, yet carried a hint of near collapse and ferocity. You think you're strong? That's just a fleeting illusion. We, the Jurong clan, control the source of fire, bestowed upon us by the Creator, the power of destruction. The fire demon roared in agreement, its entire being seemingly transforming fear into rage. You are nothing but a flawed sixth-generation being. We are the true bloodline of the gods. You think you can overthrow the entire race by yourself? What a joke. Before he could finish speaking, Zhang Yi made a move. Just for a moment. He was standing on scorched earth several kilometers away when, in the next moment, a flash of light appeared in the space. Zhang Yi's figure had already appeared in front of Su Tun and Huagui. Space travel, arriving in an instant. The distance between the 2 points had lost its meaning in his eyes. He didn't deliberately release any aura, but the powerful pressure from his instant kill of Lu Xiao had almost made Su Tun and Huagui's heads explode. Fear. The fear of death gripped their hearts, leaving these two powerful warriors of the Jurong clan feeling cold all over. Almost instinctively, Su Tun raised his hands and ignited the unique burning realm flame of the Jurong clan. That's high thermal energy, enough to melt metal and evaporate space. But before the release was complete, a finger casually pointed at his head. It's noisy. Zhang Yi's voice was calm, even carrying a hint of impatience. Silence. There was no explosion. There were no screams. Starting from the top of his head, Su Tun's body was sliced open as if by an invisible blade, with cracks spreading rapidly like a spider web. The next second, he silently disintegrated, turning into ashes, and even his energy was completely annihilated. The fire demon was completely dumbfounded. Fear made his muscles stiffen so much that he couldn't breathe. He could hardly believe his eyes. A warrior of the White Archbishop rank, who didn't even have time to react in the hands of the other party. You killed Su Tun? His voice almost changed tone. Zhang Yi didn't answer, but simply looked up at him indifferently. In that instant, the fire demon's hair stood on end. First and foremost, there is extreme fear. Then, his fear turned into rage, and he roared and howled, his whole body engulfed in crimson flames. You should just die. His body transformed into a streak of crimson light, blazing with flames, like a falling meteorite, hurtling straight towards Zhang Yi. The flames surged, and the energy surged like a tidal wave. At that moment, the entire world was devoured by the energy of the fire demon. The intense heat distorted the light, the earth melted into magma, and scorching red mist filled the surrounding air. However, when everything calmed down, Zhang Yi remained standing in the same spot. The space around him glowed with a dark light, forming a semi-transparent circular position. All the flames, shockwaves, and energy bodies vanished without a trace the moment they touched that layer of space, as if falling into a bottomless abyss. Dimensional gate. That was a space that devoured all energy, Zhang Yi's private domain. The fire demon's all-out attack seemed to be thrown into nothingness, without even causing a ripple. This is impossible, impossible. The fire demon's eyes had completely collapsed, and he roared as he retreated. Zhang Yi slowly raised his hand. Rebellion is interesting, but... Before he could finish speaking, the silver-black chain slid out from his right arm like a snake, stretching out to tens of meters in an instant. The surface of the chains shimmered with cold runes, breathing as if they were alive. It's too ugly. The sound of chains ripping through the air was sharp and deadly. Whoosh! The fire demon's figure froze for a moment, and the next instant, all 4 of his limbs were severed at the same time, the cuts smooth and clean, even possessing a violent beauty. Blood and molten flames gushed out simultaneously, accompanied by the sound of metal breaking. Before he could even scream, the chain automatically spiraled upwards, like a venomous snake coiling around its prey, completely binding him. Each tightening of the chains produced a piercing crackling sound, destroying the energy nodes within his body inch by inch. Ah! The fire demon's screams tore through the heavens and earth, echoing amidst the flames. Zhang extended his left hand and gently pressed it against the fire ghost's chest. The runes on the chains flashed, and the smart devices and communication modules on his body instantly exploded. "Don't worry, I won't kill you." Zhang Yi's tone was as calm as if he were stating a fact, because a living tongue still has its uses. He turned around and looked at Zhuke, Xuanwu, and Tu Yunlai, who were speechless with shock. "You can go back now." He spoke in a nonchalant tone, as if the battle that had just taken place was nothing to mention. "I'll handle the rest as I see fit. We'll see what happens." This phrase carries multiple meanings, implying that Zhang Yi won't stop here and will definitely make bigger moves later. However, none of them dared to ask any more questions, as Zhang Yi's performance today had completely shocked them. They could only look up at the back of this transcendent being and trace his footsteps. At the edge of the inferno, Zhang Yi's silhouette was fluttering in the evening breeze, his clothes moving silently. The flames in the world died out at his feet, leaving only embers whispering in the wind. At that moment, everyone understood. The war was over the moment he appeared. The fire demon was bound by the divine chains, and its entire form had been reduced to its original state. His body was charred black. The blazing flames had long since died down, leaving only embers shimmering on his skin. Zhang Yi grabbed him by the neck, dragging him back to Tianhai Fortress like a giant, flaming serpent that had lost its dignity. Inside the fortress, the light was warm. Yang Xinxin had been stationed at Tianhai Fortress for less than 5 minutes when Zhang Yi returned. Seeing the human pig he was carrying, she blinked and asked with a faint smile, "Is this a warrior of the Jurong clan? A very interesting life form, able to survive in magma." No wonder some people say that the creator likes to roll dice. Even the creation of life is so casual. Whatever, this thing has already appeared, and it's right here on Huaxiu Kingdom's territory. So, we need to find out more about this tribe. Zhang Yi let go of her hand. "Let's give it a try. If it's a troublesome race, we'll prepare to flee and head to the Olyuan Empire's stronghold. If that race's strength is just average, Zhang Yi sneered, his eyes filled with icy coldness. They're about to be in big trouble. Chapter 24, 80 Magma Creatures. 2. Fire Demon was thrown heavily to the ground by Zhang Yi. The divine chains, as if alive, meandered and bound him firmly to the ground. The sharp hooks pierced through his body, not killing him, but rendering him unable to move or even commit suicide. The inscriptions on the chains shimmered with a pale silver light, like a prohibition from the depths of the universe. Even the fluctuations of energy were stilled. Fire Ghost raised his head, a trace of stubbornness still lingering in his eyes. 6 generations, do you think capturing me will change anything? The flames of our Jurong clan will burn down the entire land. Falling puppet. Yang Xinxin gently raised her hand, too lazy to waste any more words with him. At this moment, in her eyes, the fire ghost was nothing more than a brain knowledge bank. A colossal fallen golem appeared within the black mist, its judgment longbow drawn, and a crimson light suddenly flashed, condensing from its palm into an extremely thin arrow. The arrow was entirely composed of pink and deep red, resembling liquid lust or invisible threads of the soul. Before the fire demon could understand what was happening, the arrow had already silently pierced his chest. Ah! He shuddered suddenly, but quickly became bewildered, because there was no pain, only that something deep within his heart had been quietly changed. His pupils contracted violently, slowly becoming stained with a deep red glow. His consciousness collapsed, and then reassembled in an instant. Yang Xinshin stared at him silently, her expression as cold as a god. The arrow of lust can seize the most core autonomous will of the soul, turning it into a puppet. Slaves obey all of their masters' commands unconditionally. A few seconds later, the fire demon knelt down, his gaze submissive, and said in a hoarse voice, "My lord, fire demons obey my command." Zhang Yi smiled faintly. Not bad. He turned to Yang Xinshin and said, "Ask him for all the information about the Jurong clan." Yang Xinshin tapped her chin lightly, then extended her slender fingers and gently touched the fire ghost's forehead. The energy ripples spread out, and the light in the entire hall dimmed slightly. The fire demon's pupils flickered with fragmented images, a sign that his memories were being forcibly read. As Yang Xinshin's abilities improve, it may become easier to read the memories of slaves, eliminating the need for lengthy oral recitations. Instead, it allows direct mental sensing to access the other person's memories. Accompanied by a low murmur, information poured out like a tidal wave. The Jurong clan dwells deep within the Earth's mantle, living year-round in a sea of lava. Their blood flows with rocky heart and fiery marrow, and their normal body temperature can reach 800 degrees Celsius. In terms of armed forces, the top combat power is divided into two tiers. The first layer consists of 3 overlords of the infernal realm, Yanjin, Songhua Lu, and Ran Yutian. Each of them rules over 3 lava seas and is the true king of the Jurong tribe, all of whom are knight-level beings. The second level consists of bishop-level warriors, totaling 9, including the deceased Lu Shao and Su Tun, as well as the fire ghost before them. Despite their formidable military strength, their civilization and technology were extremely backward. It is even inferior to the human world. Because their world cannot use conventional materials to build equipment, almost all ordinary materials would melt at high temperatures. However, their energy conversion and physical structure have reached their limits. So that's how it is. It's a relatively primitive tribe. Zhang Yi touched his nose, a faint smile on his face, but a bright light shone in his eyes. He prefers opponents who are physically strong but mentally weak. It's important to understand that not everyone has the opportunity like Columbus to take up a musket and fight against natives who use spears and then directly plunder the rich resources of an entire continent. In other words, it can be roughly determined that their superhuman strength is stronger than that of the Wulwan Empire, but their intelligence and technology are still stuck in the old era. You could even say that their threat is less than that of the Alawada Empire. Ha! Yang Xinshin raised her eyes and calmly analyzed. They have 3 knights. According to the ranking system, brother still needs to be careful in dealing with them. Zhang Yi laughed. Caution? Isn't that a given? He glanced sideways and said softly, "But I think this is a good investment." His smile gradually turned dangerous. Since they like to start fires, let's go to their territory and see whose fire burns brighter. He said to Yang Xinshin, "Continue to search his mind. I want to extract as much information as possible about the Jurong clan. With our current strength, we don't need the entire nation's resources. My team, which include Zhang Yi, is far superior to the entire nation's resources 6 months ago." He turned around and, using the highest level of access to the intelligence system, issued an order to the entire city of Tianhai: "Notify all personnel to enter maximum alert. Shadow Squad, assemble immediately. All members inside Tianhai Fortress, assemble immediately." The night at Sky-Sea Fortress was quiet and tense. In the highest conference room of Tianhai Fortress, the villa lobby, all the core members arrived almost simultaneously. The air was filled with the smell of metal and energy. The screen projected the intelligence gathered by Yang Xinshin, Information about the distribution, energy structure, ecological structure, and most importantly, the combat power level of the Jurong clan. The fire demon revealed all the information about the Jurong clan. As a high-ranking member of the Jurong clan, he even knew everything about their defense system. The Jurong clan, whose technological civilization was not so advanced, was practically invisible in front of Yang Xinxin. Zhang Yi sat on the sofa in the center of the living room, the end demon god armor already attached to his body. He was like a black iron tower shrouded in the night, cold and composed. This posture of combat readiness made everyone feel the atmosphere of an impending major battle. Uncle Yu was the first to break the silence. With an unlit cigarette dangling from his lips, he asked with a smile, "Zhang Yi, I heard that this time the target is another civilization? And this civilization just attacked a city in our Huashu kingdom. Is it that exciting? Are we going to start a national war right now?" Fatty Sue stared wide-eyed, somewhat incredulous. Currently, various ancient civilizations and races around the world have emerged one after another, all eyeing the strength of the sixth generation of humans, and fierce wars have broken out in many countries. Based on Zhang Yi's personality, he thought he would stay in Tianhai City and not go anywhere else. Zhang Yi turned his head, his gaze deep and unfathomable. That's right. His tone was calm, but every word he uttered was like a block of iron falling to the ground. If we want to usher in peace in the future, we must take this opportunity to establish our power. A good start will prevent 100 more from coming. If we don't take action against an ancient civilization that has offended us, sooner or later, new troubles will come knocking on our door. When we annihilated the Wulwan Empire, the whole world was watching. But now, more ancient civilizations have their eyes on the surface. We need to make them all clearly understand that we are also the butcher, not the fish on the chopping board. Therefore, becoming a great power and joining them is the wisest choice. Chapter 2481 Magma Organisms 3. Zhang Yi looked up and gazed at the steel city outside. Tianhai City is too quiet. They think we're afraid. Now, it's time to let them know that the chaos in Tianhai still exists. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone in the meeting room nodded in approval. Excitement was on everyone's face. It has only been half a year since the conquest of the Uluyang Empire. The battle half a year ago was truly breathtaking. Even now, thinking about it makes their blood boil. Is a second battle about to begin? Bailey Chongqing's beard twitched, and he asked excitedly, "Your Excellency, do you mean to take the initiative?" Zhang Yi smiled slightly. That's right. Attacking a civilization establishes authority and credibility. Fatty Sue blinked. Are we the only ones going to make a move? This time, are we going to gather the strength of the whole country? The other side is an ancient race, and you haven't even told us their race name. The Jurong clan, Yang Xinxin said. She slid her fingertip across the screen, and the images on the holographic projection instantly switched. Countless creatures made of flames, a hellish world of flowing lava, and giants enveloped in flames were reflected in everyone's eyes. Her voice was calm. They live deep within the mantle and have 3 fiery overlords. All of their members are night-level ability users, a special race in which everyone possesses fire-based abilities. I talked to my brother, and they are the same race as the Golden Lava Knight we met in the Eye of the Demon. However, they have obviously declined since that time and have not recovered their strength for many years. The Yak people once had an incredibly glorious history, suppressing the arrogant Druk people for a long time. But they were ultimately defeated and were rescued by the Creator in a sorry state. To this day, many of the divided groups are barely surviving. They arrived on land with an air of arrogance, but could not conceal their fate as stray dogs. From this perspective, they are vastly different from the Qinling dragon clan. After all, the dragons personally sealed away the giant god Drucker and then disappeared into another dimension. Yang Xinxin continued, according to the intelligence provided by the Fire Ghost, their civilization is large in scale, but their technology is backward, their defense system is primitive, and they mainly rely on natural energy cycles. Uncle Yu frowned. So, they fight using the scorching rock environment. That's right. Yang Xinshin nodded. The Earth's core is their domain. Lu Karen licked her lips, a hint of excitement in her smile. A domain? Then I'll see, before the firepower of my new dreamer, can their rock-forged bodies withstand it? In terms of firepower alone, the current new dreamer possesses enough combat power to make even night-level Inhumans retreat. Lu Karen interlaced her fingers. This super mechanic, under Zhang Yi's arrangement, had been working tirelessly to upgrade all military industries in Tianhai City for the past 6 months. She had put her abilities to the fullest and was eager to test the results of her work. 3 super battleships are on standby. Each battleship is equipped with 30 main guns comparable to the sky cannons, 200 secondary guns, and 26,000 machine guns covering all directions. They also carry 500 antimatter warheads. Antimatter missile, an upgraded version of the Love Reaper, is a new material independently developed by Lu Karen, possessing a power 100 times stronger than uranium. An antimatter warhead can completely obliterate a city with a radius of 100 kilometers. Not destroy, but completely erase. Although the Death of Love has a wide killing range, its effective radius is only a few thousand meters. Generally speaking, if you hide in a bunker hundreds of meters underground, you can avoid its power. Now, even the Death of Love can hardly inflict effective damage on those with an ability index of 20,000 or higher, since they won't die as long as they avoid the core explosion range. Antimatter missiles are the ultimate weapon capable of completely destroying all life within their range. I haven't had a proper match in 6 months. I've been waiting for this day. Don't get too excited yet. Zhang Yi's voice was calm, and although he had a doting smile on his face towards Lu Karen, his serious gaze made the atmosphere in the entire conference room more solemn. This is not a simple war. He glanced at everyone, staring intently at each one. This is a battle to establish our prestige, a battle to vindicate ourselves. We must win this battle and make the other ancient races dare not underestimate us. Of course, annihilating the entire Jurong clan would be the best outcome. Since they attacked us first, they pose a threat, so eliminating them is definitely the right thing to do. The worst-case scenario is that I will use my spatial abilities to my advantage of high mobility to wage guerrilla warfare and inflict as many casualties as possible on them. After 6 months of preparation, your strength has improved considerably. This time, everyone must participate. No one is allowed to back down. Fatty Sue swallowed hard and said with a wry smile, "Boss, every time you say that, I know something big is going to happen." Zhang Yi tilted his head slightly, a hint of mockery flashing in his eyes. "You don't have to go. Your girlfriend can just do your share. Are you kidding me?" Upon hearing these words, Fatty Sue quickly straightened his chest and forced a resolute expression onto his chubby face. Who isn't a tough guy from Tianhai?
Fight.
Even if I die, I'll die a resounding death. Zhang Yi smiled faintly and turned to look at Yang Xinshin. Is the intelligence gathering complete? Yang Xinshin nodded. Included all. According to the Fire Ghost's memories, the Jurong clan has 3 territories in the Earth's core. The outermost layer is the Molten River, the innermost layer is the Fiery Prison City, and the deepest core area is the Fire Marrow Sacred Pool, that is their deepest source of energy. Each region is overseen by a fiery Hell Lord. We can divide and conquer them. Very good. Zhang Yi nodded, then slowly raised his right hand. Everyone, prepare to enter the underground world for battle. Zhang Yi said in a low voice. We're going to catch them off guard. Those guys definitely won't expect that they'll be attacked, and then our main base will be invaded. Their contempt for us land people is our most advantageous condition. His gaze was calm yet resolute, but his tone ignited a fighting spirit in everyone's hearts. From today onwards, Tianjin Tianhai will no longer rely solely on defense. We attack. Zhang Yi's speech ignited everyone's passion, and they immediately entered a state of combat readiness. The Shadow Squad has been assembled by Deng Shintong and Bailey Chongqing, and now there are about 500 people with supernatural abilities above 9,000 points. Among them, Loyal elders such as Zhuge Qingting, Xiao Honglian, and Lu Dehai have also crossed the threshold of Ypsilon. This air-sea combat force is terrifyingly strong.